Chapter 3, The Celestial Resort. This is when the game starts really popping off. I mean, no, yeah, real cute. Yeah, that's exactly true. And now you're just trying to make me feel better about this. But yeah, the previous areas only had 3 parts. This one has 4 parts, and you can probably tell from the video length alone that, yeah, this is going to be a little bit longer than usual. You can already see the gimmick here starting right early. It's actually a pretty simple one. Moving enemies. Yep, that's it. Well, moving obstacles. They're not really enemies because you can't interact with them in any way. I mean, they have like eyes. You can see they track you and everything. Pretty cute little weird meatball type enemies. But yeah, the fact that they're moving, everything else up until this point has just been stationary spikes or things that you have to move yourself. But, of course, they get exploited to the full extent of the law over time. This I really like. This is just the perfect tutorial of how to do the whole refreshing your dash as you do a screen transition thing. You could even see like a little pedestal that you're supposed to stand on there, signifying use this to jump up there, and that's when you notice that your jump refreshes, etc. and so on. And then you might remember, say, the crystal heart in the previous area, and bingo bango, you got it. It's a really good design, I'll just say that. And you can see I'm trying to use my knowledge of these sick advanced tactics here to not much use there. Did get to see the little strawberry up there, but that doesn't really mean too much of anything, just that I'll have to keep a lookout for that strawberry later. Cute. Mr. Oshiro. One of the few NPCs in the game. And yes, a ghost. You know, it's weird. There is a big tombstone that just went by at the end of the Forsaken City that... Yeah, world-renowned. Madeline doesn't even seem to know about it. But anyway, yeah, there's a big, huge tombstone that says all the people that perished here. But this schmuck is the guy that gets to be a ghost? Gets to haunt around here? Whatever. Establishes the character pretty early on. So, there's your goal for this. I mean, not that it really matters. This is not like a very non-linear game, but... just follow him to the presidential suite and then find an exit from there. I'm sure it will all go fantastically, and that all of those crazy meatball ghosts outside will definitely not be appearing again. Not really a gimmick, but you see those little ghost blocks that appear everywhere, kind of, sort of. They're pretty much just to gate you in until you accomplish, I don't know, something. My inner demons only tried to kill me 2 times while I was staying here. 5 stars. But yeah, not only moving obstacles, they move in a bunch of different ways. You get your circles here, you get your back and forth, up and down, you get going along walls, all that sort of stuff. You can see that every single part of the, well, except for that there, but you also do see that those things are tied to platforms. They follow around something. Not something that gets exploited a huge amount from what I remember throughout the chapter, but hey, it's still good to know. That was a good little tutorial, even though it was a bit of an annoying fake out. Anyway. Yeah, keys here. This is less of a gimmick for the area and more of a gimmick for the overall game. I mean, you're going to be seeing keys in later areas, too. When you die, you get to still keep them, but you need to collect them to continue on through stuff. It just lets you, you know, reuse rooms in a good way without making it seem like too much backtracking. And as you can probably tell from the cilia on the wall there, that's pretty much a, I don't know, one-way type of obstacle. You can touch that wall once, but after that, then it gets covered in meatball ghost. So it's interesting. It's definitely a way to have you go around in a circle in a room, you know, kind of explore every little nook and cranny, while also making sure that you never double back at any point in time. I don't even... It's almost like a tradition at this point for me to just kill myself as soon as I enter a new area. Like, oh, it's gonna happen anyway. Might notice a lot of ghostly books and linen around. That definitely does play a part in this. Hoo boy. I was a big fan of human-made structures in games like this because you generally get a whole lot of neato clutter type here, as well as, you know, the ability to really furnish stuff. Like, I just said that thing that was supposed to be a joke where I just kill myself for no reason on entering a room. What is up with the lead foot that I got for just pressing right as soon as I enter a place? You know that there's going to be a bottomless pit as soon as you start this, or meatball ghosts. Which, I mean, I gotta say, like, why are there bottomless pits in a hotel? I mean, I know there's rough shape, and then there's no floor. Anyway, after that, just horrible display of wall climbing there. Just get back on with that. Yeah, one of the things I really liked about the Uncharted series, even though I've never been a huge fan of the Uncharted series, you know, cover shooter's not really my thing, and I gotta tell you, not all that into super cinematic games, but I did really appreciate how Naughty Dog really put a lot of care and attention to putting little things, like, in Uncharted 2, when you went into the village type area, you could see individual little milk crates on the ground. It was amazing, just the amount of stuff they put in there. And I do think you get a little bit of the same sort of thing with the various stuff here, whether it's looking at the, you know, spectral linen that's kind of littering the areas. These little freezer room type areas are pretty neat too. Doors that open automatically. A lot of paintings around here. And if you look closely at the paintings, I think that they may be representing the... I think they may be representing the, you know, Black Moonrise and the old site sort of thing. If I was going to take a guess, at least. There you can see a little bit of how a one-way platform can kind of screw you up there. Yeah, you're not supposed to touch that one because you want to grab onto that wall as soon as you grab this strawberry. I said before, I'll say again, strawberry's very, very neat way of introducing a mechanic, but also if you want to do like speedrunning for the game, if you want to try to get through as fast as possible, it's super non-intrusive. Speaking of doors there's one that just opened up sideways. I mean, again, there's rough shape and then there's doors opening downwards. I mean, come on. A little tricky area. It's certainly more tricky than you'd think it would be. I don't know. Lamps having physics again. But yeah, another little area where you can easily kill yourself by, well, you get locked in by those spikes first off, and then you can see you can easily kill yourself by jumping on a platform twice. Of course, this being the A side, it's not quite at that point yet. I want to be the guy kind of threading needle threading there. Moving back and forth on a platform. You remember that bit with the huge spike room? One of my favorite parts of that game. You know you're getting in there now when that music starts ramping up. Again, just like I'd really like to talk. I really like how the music, it gives you a sense of progress even as you're just kind of moving through the area. And speaking of which, you definitely know you're moving through the area because this is the second one. Named, again, I started writing down the names of these areas. Huge Mess. Yep, and it's apropos. Still not entirely sure if Oshiro, you know, knows he's a ghost, but is just like, it's not no big deal. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a ghost. I don't see what the issue is. Or if he is actually in denial and does not know he's a ghost. I could easily see it going either way, but it's really probably the second one. Yeah, huge mess. You can see here. All the junk that's been littered around here is more littered than ever. In one way or another here. Ah, yes, an obvious little secret area. Giving you access to a Pico 8 machine. Hooray! This is that fake, what do you call it, kind of MSX type, thing. Game creation software that I was talking about before. You have like a literal representation in the game here. And this is what the original Celeste looked like. I'm just going to assume that this is a very simplified version of the original Celeste, but I mean, this is pretty much what it be. Also, I do like the little touches of having the joystick around there and the cobwebs and everything. Yeah, it's good stuff. This is a really weird sort of... I mean, what is this, Resident Evil? Also, I think it may be the only point in time where you actually get to see a... note like this. I mean, I'm sure that probably has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you built your hotel on this enormous and haunted Mount Celeste Everest here. Water physics. You can see they actually kind of screw with the sound a little bit there. I like that touch. Water is used surprisingly infrequently, despite the fact that there are physics and swimming and everything associated with it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Well, I mean, he does now. Why are you so squeaky? I don't know, maybe in the Celeste universe the ghosts are squeaky. Madeline, you're just looking for a way through here. This is... don't... whatever. Oh, there goes the music picking up again. Good stuff. So you get your choice of 3 different areas to go here, which is a pretty neat way of making it a little... I don't know, sort of like a reverse Mega Man, think of it. Because as you clean up the objects that you can see around you, it actually becomes a little bit more difficult to go through the future areas. That's a spirit, like you. But yeah, you get... the first one you do is going to be the easiest, because you get a lot of little platforms to help you out there. Another comparison, think of like the switches in Super Mario World, giving you extra platforms and whatever. Oh, hey, here's Theo. I wouldn't really say there's much of a mystery here. No, we're gonna be doing that. I don't think so either, but you also have no intention of staying in the hotel, so just get going, man. Also, Theo clearly knows the right route to get through here without getting, murdered every single time he enters a room, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, or ghosts. Could be... both could work. I'm sure that'll never come off again. I like that that's just my standard foreshadowing line of dialogue. Anyway, line of commentary, dialogue. If you can talk to the screen if you want, but I'm not... yeah, nah, ain't happening. You can talk to the screen if you want, but I can't hear you. Mysterious. Also, this is the linen area, so you have to kind of go backwards through here. Oh, hey, yes, this is another, if this is the first time that you've been here, or if this is the first time you're meeting Theo, because you can skip the first 2 times. And this is the last time that you, well, you have to meet Theo here. He becomes, yeah, little Maddie again. He becomes plot critical past this point, so you can't, meet him for the first time in Chapter 4, for example. And that's it. Very short dialogue comparatively. Not nearly as fleshed out as in Chapter 2. A little disappointing. That part is surprisingly difficult. I am a little surprised at how much trouble I had. It's not even all that difficult, but for some reason, my brain could not process it properly. But yeah, you can see, for example, those books there would be gone if you cleaned out the books. The crates would be gone if you cleaned out the crates, etc. and so on. Yeah, here's a point in time where you actually want to dash to be able to get the flying strawberry there. Otherwise, it's impossible to get. I mean, yeah, they don't just poof out of existence when you do the dash. They fly up into the air, and that's your chance to get them. I would say that actually most of the flying strawberries are... Wow, come on, man. I would say that most of the flying strawberries are actually designed that you're supposed to, you know, at the last second, dash into them. You know, putting yourself on the clock a little bit. Again, you can see on the left there that there's clearly something going on insofar as trying to do some backtracking in this area. Yeah, that's... those one-tile needle threadings are a little more difficult than you might think. Can be a bit rough. Not that, though. The 3-tile threading, not nearly as difficult. I do like that, for whatever reason, the strawberries are a little hidden in this area. Like, not very hidden. They still, you know, emit light and kind of a weird distortion effect around them because, you know, that's how strawberries work, right? But I don't know. Not entirely sure why. Yeah, there's where I saw. It's like, okay, I want to do backtracking, but, you know, how am I going to do backtracking if it just disappears there? Neat animation. Also, again, pointing out more music picking up there. And, yep, there you go. I mean, I knew I had to backtrack in some way, so it's no question that I had to find something. And that's how I knew to kind of look for that. I just got lucky that the first guess was that one. And there we are. It's not actually all that bad to go back through here. Getting rid of all the linen does not really affect the difficulty of this area too much. It really looks like there should be something up there, but there is not. Hey, it's my old friend. Good stuff, good stuff. One of these days I'll be good at video games. Not today, certainly. Well, I mean, this was recorded a little while ago. Oh, if you're keeping track at home, I am currently at Chapter 7 B-side. And yeah, surprisingly enough, that's all you need to do to get the Crystal Heart. I mean, it is a little bit of exploration that you need to, you know, do to actually figure out how to backtrack. But that's not hidden if you're, say, in that upper path up there. You can still actually, see the Crystal Heart. And this is the first time in the game, I think, that the Crystal Heart is, you know, made apparent that it exists, unless you're looking at the worldwide, the tab, the Madeline's Journal, whatever, I don't know what it's called. And it, you know, has a page for Crystal Hearts. But that's the first one that you can see, where you're definitely cued into the existence of them. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the first one that a lot of people got. If all I need to do was hit a big jelly switch to clean up, I'd be much easier. Let's just go with that. That's a good question. You're not really treating any other guests here, as far as I know. So, like, why don't you have time to clean this all the time? Well, and then the area, that previous area gets blocked off, so you can't go back in there. Even after the ghost blocks get removed, you can't re-enter areas again, which is what makes the Scattered and Lost puzzle there a little, well, slightly more difficult. This is a little bit of a tricky area. I mean, it's not too bad, really, but it tripped me up a couple times. To the point that there was an obvious cut there. That's how you do it. And one of the really cute things in this level is the moving meatball ghost guys. Oh, come on. Yeah, the moving meatball ghost guys do get pretty bug-eyed and apparently surprised when they hit you, which I love that. It's a good little touch. Also, you know, they stop moving, but eh. Come on. Yeah, that's one of the important things about enemies being able to, well, enemies moving here. Since this game is designed to... Thankfully, I left the books there. Made that a lot easier. But, yeah, since this game is designed for speed running, as soon as you enter a room or as soon as you respawn, enemies that, well, obstacles that are moving like this are built pretty explicitly so that if you start going immediately, then you will be able to be successful. Because it's built so that you can go through it as fast as possible. Oh, also, it's something I don't think I ever actually mentioned in any of the videos prior to this. Each area has a unique little death animation. For example, this one you can see is a keyhole doing a iris in, iris out. In the previous area, it was a bunch of like bubbles that swept across the screen, and that continues for the entire game. Each chapter has something unique for when you die here. I think that this is kind of the most fanciful one, you know, the idea that it's a big keyhole, but hey, it's neat. Neat little touch. Another one of them jelly blocks. Get rid of all dim crates. Like, what is this? A modern multiplayer game? I don't need any. God, I'm sorry. Like there are some points where you think like I'm gonna try do joke, and then I do joke bad, and then I'm sad. All right. Last one. You can tell because it added some pretty nasty bass in the background there for the music. No. So far, it's just been ghosts. Poor Madeline, trying as hard as possible. And you'll notice that she does apologize a lot, pretty much anytime she does anything that's even a little like mean-spirited or whatever. Again, kind of a real thing. So, Bookland. I mean, it's not the library if I check my name sheet. No, that's in the B-side. Oh, B-side for this area. That's a fun one. It was a long one, I'll tell you that. Oh, also the audio got terribly desynced, so I tried to make that work as well as possible, and to mixed results. Yeah, a lot of audio issues coming around on the channel lately. It's maddening. Something of a somewhat rough strawberry here in this Yep, this was entirely necessary. This Dr. Mario shaped room here. Also, something I don't think I ever mentioned was that I do really like the squash and stretch animations that you got going on for the character here. I mean, not only is Madeline absurdly athletic, she's also, you know, made of jello. A real Gumbercules type, if you will. Yep, just a fail at the end there anyway. I mean, and of course, every single time I see a mirror, like back in Chapter 2, I have to do the stupid ducking animation because she gets so squishy. It's ridiculous. I love it. I left that strawberry back there in the Dr. Mario room, essentially because I was thinking, okay, it would probably be easier to do if I just came back here, redid the chapter, but then came to this area first. Because I'm sure I could probably get a block or two down there. Oh, so close. I'm sure there will probably be like a crate or a linen piece down there that will make doing that entire area much, much easier. Spoiler, that's not true. Anyway, a little tricky, not too bad though. Almost look more like a microchip there. I don't know, again, maybe one of those things is just me. Alright. Got the love theme for the hotel going on here, so no, it's popping up. Yes. Madeline, I gotta tell you, it wasn't really that tough. It was less tough than you're making it seem here. You know, we can just go back to the stupid vent there. Oh, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but when you go into the next room, you can actually see Theo crawling through the vent there. All right, part 3. This is the elevator shaft. All right, surprisingly literal. Simple enough, but again, the addition of moving enemies is, well, moving obstacles is just, it's interesting how much of a difference that can make, even though it's really not that difficult. Upside down character portrait, it's a good touch. Huge mess, that was the name of the previous area. Jump in the vent there. Gotta agree with Theo on this one. I doubt it. Oh, see, Madeline, you don't want to help people for selfish reasons. But I know that feeling, though. It's slide whistle. All right. A lot of angle jumping here, but nothing very difficult. There's one thing that you get used to very quickly in this game. It's jumping at a 45-degree angle. Also, take that. I don't need your floors, Thorson. You can't tell me what to do. Ah, here's a good puzzle related to I have no idea what you call these things. Ghost cilia, the one-way platforms here. Because you gotta figure out how to collect that while also keeping enough of the platform untouched to be able to get through there easily. And, oh, real close. Of course, it would have been pretty difficult to get there without... not quite. Would have been pretty difficult to get there without touching the edge anyway, because it's an awkward enough jump as it is. So... what I'm saying is this takes a little bit more forethought than a lot of stuff in the game where you can just kind of do it to it. I'm so lucky that I didn't accidentally touch one of those parts of the floor again. That could have easily turned into disaster. All right, all right. This is a surprisingly simple section comparatively. I don't know. All right, now this is just getting ridiculous. Hey! Look at that. Check out that lore. So, yep, as it turns out, the weird meatball ghosts are actually, apparently, doubt manifested into a literal form. Yeah, suddenly this game turned into Kero Blaster. It really does make me wonder, because that's so similar to Kero Blaster if Thorson played that before this or something. Like this sort of thing happens almost in the design of the meatballs are even similar to the ones in Kero Blaster. It's weird. Or maybe I'm misremembering that entirely. I don't know, it's been a while. And those one-tile jumps, they're rough. It's a rough and tumble time here in Celeste Town. Mount Everest Celeste. You know, if you rearrange the letters in Celeste, it actually spells Everest. If you believe that for even a second, then I did my job. So these next couple areas, I mean, not only, you know, going around a very obviously artificially-ish created barrier, but also a lot of collecting of strawberries here. I mean, there's 2 in this room alone. And also the B-side tape, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. Whatever. Point is, it's kind of like a little stop-off so you can get a bunch of collectibles and all that sort of stuff. Multiple speeds for enemies, too. Really get a good idea of how things start to kind of work together, while also being not extremely obnoxious and annoying. In some ways, I do kind of think that it would be interesting if all of the gimmicks kind of built off of each other, but I also understand that that could be absurdly ridiculous as far as gameplay goes. Also very hard to design puzzles around. As soon as you have too many tools at your disposal, your creativity can be, well, puzzles, challenges, obstacles, athletic courses. As soon as you get too many tools, you know, in your toolbox, you can kind of get confused and make things a little too complicated. So, you know. I mean, there's a reason why the Mario School of Design is so very enduring of a, come on, just get around it already. It's like they're consistent, if nothing else. Yeah, it's such an enduring sort of way to design a game, because this sort of thing really does... It's a creativity through, you know, a willingness to let go. Something that, let's be honest here, Madeline could probably learn from Oshiro. No doubt. I mean, no, not the fact that he doesn't let go of anything. I mean, he has clearly already shut down the entire, you know, hotel here, and yet it's still open. Because he can't let it go. Neither can Madeline's desire to help people, even at great cost to herself. For example, dying to these annoying meatball ghosts over and over. Doubt clouds. And that should do it. Yeah, another one of those ones that it's like, yeah, it's not that difficult, but at the same time it is. Hints at other secret areas or previews of other secret areas. Those are actually areas that you can get to from the very start of it, so I don't know, maybe just showing continuity? It's cool either way. Speed strats, which got me killed. Hey, live fast, die young, etc. I mean, not that Madeline actually seems to die in the game. I mean, those are fantasy deaths or something. I'm not really entirely sure how canon works in this. I mean, as always with any sort of magical realist sort of setting, there's always a very much non-zero, if anything, more likely of a chance that this is going to be revealed to all be a dream. I mean, if you're working with a game that's largely metaphors and symbolism, one of the favorite things to do is just say, you know what, it's all a simulation or a hallucination or whatever. Anyway, not too difficult to get. And also, there is something, I mean, you can see in the upper left there's a preview of this area, which seems entirely unnecessary because that's one of the easier cassette tapes to find. I don't know. Decades ago. Charlotte? Well, that's... I don't know, that's probably the old woman. Let's be honest, I don't really think... This game is kind of light on NPCs, so I cannot imagine that that's, you know, much of anything else going on. Yeah. Go up and see the summit. I'm sure that it was a very easy and simple time for everybody. Again, I'm still kind of thinking that this might be a Silent Hill sort of principle, wherein Madeline's having a real tough time because, you know, of her own stuff here. Her own hang-ups, her own issues. And that if you were just a workaday schmo at the hotel here. Again, I don't know where you would be living here, the Forsaken City, but it didn't seem like anybody ever lived there. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, you can see that Oshiro might be a little bit more filled with doubt than usual around here. Why would you even put a mirror in this room? Surely Madeline is not the first person that this has happened to. Ah, man. Even a free bottle of absinthe on the table, apparently. Well, the entire hotel is spacious. Somehow it was so large that you couldn't just walk around it, so I would expect the rooms to be gigantic. Like the ballroom sized minimum. You know, every one of the windows has been broken so far. I mean, I know that's not really the safest way to do things, but come on. Severe amount of chromatic aberration there. I was telling you about that. I think it's that every single time it's something, I don't know. Wow, really, it's the single enemy there. Anytime that something paranormal or something happens here, seems like that's when it kind of goes crazy with that, near as I can tell. Yeah, get that harpsichord out here. Yeah, it's specifically built to be a little difficult to vault over that thing, certainly. Ah, well. Not that difficult, though. Also, look at that ceiling. So yeah, this is the first time that you can see that you can jump on top of enemies. Much like jumping on top of a spring or whatever, it fully restores your dash and stamina, allowing you to stamina and dash for much longer. As well as obviously incapacitating said enemy for a minute or two, well, a few seconds. It's useful. It's not something that I think I could possibly do consistently enough in any way to make much of a difference, but hey, what are you gonna do? There we are. I mean, obviously you do need to do it sometimes. But yeah, Oshiro in vampire form. It's pretty simple here, but it's more the fact that you're being put on a time limit, as it were, to move. It's something that, you know, happens a lot in the game. Whether it's your own stamina meter or something like some kind of enemy-ish type character here. Also, yeah, I did get to the end of this earlier, but I was just like, well, I might as well die here because I still need to go get that strawberry. But I at least want to make an attempt for a strawberry each time it comes up. Why? Because that saves me a lot of editing time later. Yeah, if you are very good at the game, the ability to do a little bit of Goomba stomping here can actually, I would assume, would help you out immensely. Like a real good speedrun tactic, but boy, do you have to be good at that time. It's a roughin'. But yeah, I'm sure, as you can probably assume, Presidential Suite is the last part of this area. Also, a little bit back to the more mountainous-ish sort of area. Oh, come on! That was so easy to do. Ah, well. There we go. Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep moving, it's really not too bad to dodge around Oshiro. And come on. Very, very simple, but can somewhat deviously difficult, if you say, get a little ahead of the crystals there. I mean, that's the frustrating part about doing this. Not even anything else. It reappears in B-side in a very way. Just say that right now. Ah, tried to go for the Goomba Stomp, didn't work. But I mean, you know, hey, that's how it goes. Also, I'm sure you could probably do dashing straight upwards would probably be a better way to handle that, but I did. Again with the just walk forward. Stop doing that. Spoiler, I eventually stopped doing that because this was still definitely at a time where I was, you know, I guess I did have 2 B-sides under my belt, but I don't know, I was still screwing up some pretty simple stuff here. And yep, you can totally duck underneath it. You know, as useful or not as that could possibly be. Also, that strawberry was surprisingly difficult to get. For some reason, I kept trying to jump on Oshiro's head, even though that was pretty much entirely unnecessary to get that. I mean, all you have to do is just do a straight dash, do a slight bit of wall climbing, and then a straight dash through. I mean, it's not that difficult. I mean, you got to do the initial jump on there to make sure that your dash is kept, but I don't know. I think Oshiro, like, here or so is programmed to do a quick dash or something, because I got killed a couple times there just because, I don't know, it felt like he was going faster or out of sync with the normal rhythm that he's got going on. And let me tell you, rhythm. It's that, and it's understanding that cycles are meant to be done as soon as you spawn. Like, enemies cycle in a way that you can do everything as soon as you respawn. Yeah, there you go. That's that fast. cycle I was talking about. And it's a weird thing, but it makes it seem like, you know, as long as you really get the let out, then it's actually not very difficult to get through some areas. I don't know, it's weird. I'm very bad at explaining this. Another boss defeated. I mean, you know, again, insofar as this game has bosses. Yeah, they probably want to fix that. Hooray, I win! All right. I like the little doubt ghost in the corner there. That's cute. He doesn't seem to recognize the existence of those. I wonder if he ever just like tries to chat him up or something. It's like, hey, Ghost Blob, how you doing? And then it just looks at him. Well, that'll be coming up next time. Chapter 4, buddy. Not too bad so far. All the hearts. I am doing them in order. For real. Absolutely no reason to do that. But at the same time, isn't there never any reason to do anything? So that means I should do it. All right, anyway, back to the start. And yeah, obviously quick cut, and right there. It's a pretty difficult one to see, all things considered. But hey, one of the, you know, I said before that one of the nice things about, good job. One of the nice things about this game is that secrets are not too secret. Like back when I was doing a Hyper Light Drifter last year, one of the things I was talking about was how, you know, relatively easy it was to see secrets, and then I realized that, oh wait a second, that was actually something that they added well after the game had come out, because some of the secrets were so ridiculously difficult to find, you might as well have needed to hug the wall at every single second that you were playing to try to find anything. And I'm glad that Celeste, you know, there's always some sort of crack, there's always some sort of light shining through, something to show you that something's going on somewhere. It's because, man, if there's one thing more annoying, you know, this is supposed to be a challenging platform, you understand. So the idea that, oh yeah, here's this area. Hooray. I mean, seeing that didn't really help me or anything, but, you know, it shows continuity. Yeah, hurry this up here. Oh, man. Can't get away from that, can you? Yeah, here's the B-side thing. That's right. Again, not that you really need to say that. I think that's probably the easiest set to find, comparatively. But yeah, this is supposed to be a challenging platformer type game, so asking players to constantly go through the same levels just to try to find the one thing that they, you know, just to try to hug up against the one wall that is open or needs to break or whatever is, that, oh God, that would just be so frustrating. You know, here's the proper way you do it instead of doing that 45-degree angle shenanigans that I was. And I mean, obviously it's up here. I mean, this was a place that, I don't know, I just kind of ignored for no real reason. I'm not too proud to admit that I screwed up here. Anywho. Yep, chain that together and then right through. Simple. 2 more strawberries. And of course. And yeah, you can see that even if you have everything, like none of the buttons pressed, as it were, None of the jelly blobs sorted out. Yeah. It doesn't become any easier. It's kind of rough anyway. And I mean, really, it's not that rough, but again, moving enemies, they are a thing, unquestionably. And there you go. At least, I mean, if I hit the wall climb on the middle platform, that would have been it. Yep, and there you are. Just a little bit of wall jumping there to make that happen. Not too bad at all. And then, yeah, you remember how there were the 3 areas there? It took me a little while to find that one, but as soon as I did, it's like, so obvious in retrospect. Also a little difficult to kind of figure out exactly, I entirely forgot what I was going to say. Hey, Good Karma, B-side. Let's go. Also, best B-side song. Well, at least my favorite B-side song. It's one rockin' tune, no doubt. I gave it a try. You can't say that I didn't. I hope you can angle yourself around spikes on top platforms pretty well. Fast doubt blobs. Yep. And again, this especially is definitely the area where you want to understand that, like, oh, come on. This is definitely the area that you want to understand that if you start running immediately, the game is built to let that happen. That you will hit the perfect sort of the perfect positioning for every single one of these obstacles so that you won't run into them. But you gotta be fast. And there might be, you know, a bit of micro waiting, as it were. But do it as fast as possible. You can do it. Yeah, this area is rough. No doubt. Yeah, definitely one of the things that I like about the early game here is that the first 3 chapters, at least, is that you may be climbing a mountain, but the first 3 chapters have been a city, a tower, and now a hotel. You might take a notice there that, yeah, same gag they did right at the start of the area, too. And you might notice that none of those areas are mountain. Or none of those areas are anything that would be particularly, like, associated with mountainous regions. At least definitely a city. I would not think of building a city on top of a mountain. Of course, that's going to change in Chapter 4, but the other thing, too, is that it sort of kind of shows that Madeline isn't doing something that, like, no one has done before. Mount Celeste is pretty well-trodden ground. A lot of people have been here enough that, you know, there's a hotel. You're going through a hotel right now. I mean, not the nicest hotel, but at least at one point it was. Nah, nice try, but no. Yeah, you can see that this is a lot about conserving your dashes to make sure that you can get over that last hurdle there. Ooh, close. But yeah. The idea that this is not something unique. You're not saving the world. I think that video games especially have a lot of plots, especially, I would even say more modern plots. There's a lot of, you know, saving the world, saving the galaxy, saving the universe. And it's nice to have something where the stakes are that Madeline will feel bad if she doesn't accomplish this. It makes you care a bit more about the character and what they're trying to do than, you know, the setting, as it were. Anyway, this is a rough area. Because there's a lot of points where the doubt blobs are where the doubt blobs are just perfectly lined up with the spring platform or exactly where you're trying to jump or whatever. And it can be extremely frustrating to try to go through there. I mean, you can kind of see the way that I worked out a method for getting through here, where, you know, you jump underneath, crawl up above, hit the spring platform when it's in the middle and not with one of the doubt blobs on top of it. But needless to say, it took me more than a few tries to try to get this, you know, going. Yeah, B-side is definitely especially... Yep, there was that fake out. I did it. I done did it again. But, yeah, B-side especially really does let you appreciate the sort of design that goes into these games. Because especially one of the things with platforms is that with this sort of platformer, the challenge platformer, everything is working like clockwork, you know? And you always... so close. And you always respawn instantly, and each one of the areas that you're trying to conquer are always pretty small, so that you're pretty much constantly making progress. I mean, it's the closest thing to a quick save that you can get without making the game entirely trivialized. You know, a lot of these things are pretty simple, and it's all about reducing frustration on the player. And I think that one of the things that you gotta consider if you're trying to make a game that's very, very difficult is the idea that, come on, just climb on the wall. Just climb on the wall. Do it. Do it, yeah. Yeah, one of the things you always want to consider when you're making a very tough game, or a game that's intended to be pretty dang difficult in at least some respects, is that you want to try to reduce frustration as much as possible. And there are definitely a lot of games that have, you know, various ways of doing that, but when you look at, you know, limited continues, lives, all that sort of stuff, it's crazy how far we've come, you know? It's like there's definitely a lot of stuff to look at for, you know, getting a good game feel, even outside of the mechanics themselves, when it comes to making a game, especially one like this. Come on. Again, another sort of puzzle. I keep calling these puzzles a challenge. Another sort of area that is really all about conserving your momentum with the thing. Conserving your dash, but at the same time hurrying up so that you don't run out of stamina. Also, something to note there. Your hitbox, Madeline's hitbox is actually pretty small comparatively. You can see that doubt blob just goes straight through her head, doesn't affect her at all. It's like a shmup, bullet hell shmup style hitbox is there, which that's fine. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the obstacles that you're going to be facing are ones that, you know, gravity takes you into or are covering the entire wall, so that it's a really tough jump to make. But, you know, something that the gravity's going to be, like, taking yourself into, or, you know, a single pixel of hitbox wouldn't matter all that much. But this is one of the points that it kind of does a little bit. Oh, now that I'm in the second area, what's this one called? This is the library. Equivalent to the elevator shaft, apparently, in the A side. Weird. Oh, wait, no. This one is... No, next one is library. This one is staff quarters. Yeah, you know, I can see that. You employ a lot of people that got to do a lot of laundry. That's just the fact of life. Yeah, I definitely think that the laundry room area here is a little less intense comparatively. So close to getting that corner there. I could have totally done it too. Did all them 6 speed strats. Yeah, not covering the top of those with the doubt cilia is definitely helping here. Them 45-degree jumps, I'm telling you. One of the best things, if there's one thing that you really got to learn how to do in this game, it's that. knowing exactly how far it will get you and how high it will get you. Starring Method Man and Redman. Hate that movie. The only reason I ever saw How High was because my roommate fell asleep on the remote at one point. And this was during a time when flat screen TVs were kind of new, so I didn't know where the buttons were on the side to turn it off, so I had to watch the entire thing. I think during that time I was playing Disgaea 2 on my own little tiny CRT television. I mean, it's not like PS3 wasn't out at that point, I just couldn't afford it. And there, Veni Vidi Vici. Accomplished. Alright, this area is the library. The equivalent to the shaft. To shaft. Yeah, very, very simple area again with just a difficult gimmick despite that. The just doubt blobs going up and down on the wall. Again, I love that little sprite of the table at the beginning there with a bottle of absinthe on it. I don't know, just something about that. Something about a bottle and a glass with a big comfy chair there. It just makes me say, ah, yes, that's what I like. Alright, come on, man. Oh, hey, looking at the timeline. Next one is where the audio gets desynced. Oh, that'll be fun. Oh, boy. The problem is that I had the video edited before I noticed that the audio was desynced because I wasn't listening to it at the time. So, Chapter 4 will be okay. And then every chapter past that, I didn't have any problems with that. But this one is going to be a little bit screwy in the last few minutes, let's just say that. Last 8 minutes of the video, I think, at this point. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. Also, I should cut down this area a little bit. In fact, you know what? I will. And there you go. Yeah, when you get to that point, it's simple. Again, rough, but not too bad, really. Because they do give you a pretty decent amount of time when they hit the end of their patrol pattern, let's just say. Oh, come on, now that was just cheap. I mean, expected, but cheap. Yeah, you go immediately and you can just get right through there. But you really gotta go. Gotta be careful. And again, it's a thing where you're juggling around that stamina to try to make sure that it is effectively used as possible. I mean, again, I just like to point out, man, this track is really good. Good Karma is what it's called. I mean, every B-side, the B-side track is always the same as the heart that you're getting. And also it says it right at the beginning. Oh, yeah! That corner jump was pretty clutch, unfortunately not enough to save me. So many times where I just make the Hail Mary. Yeah, that's weird that just appeared down there. Make the Hail Mary sort of save there, and then immediately die after that. I think the problem is that it's so unexpected to make those saves sometimes that what happens is that you're so psyched out by the fact that you managed to accomplish it that you're entirely unprepared to continue past that point. Deceptively simple looking. Also, don't get too close to it. It's so easy to do that. You just inch just a little too close, and then you die. Of course, the idea is that you walk into it and then fall with it because they go at the same speed as you're falling. Yeah. Ooh, this is a fun little course. This one took me a while, but it's also one of those ones that when you get it, you know? I think that's true for a lot of B-side stuff, where you're going to have trouble going through it the first time, but then the subsequent times you kind of have the the method down. Again, it goes back to calling it a puzzle. It's like you know the solution. All you need to do is execute it. And there you go. Hey! Obviously, again, this is one of those ones that gets, I would say, probably easier as you get farther into it. Yeah, I always get that. I think I said even in the last episode that you get the feeling that makes it look like you could just go underneath there? I don't know. Yep. I like that you're supposed to know that because, you know, you paid attention to the story. Or at least you kind of paid attention to the story. That's right, Oshiro's appearing in the B-side. Non-canon, baby. The game explicitly says as such later on. And here, he's less of an artificial time limit, or a constructed time limit. I don't know what you'd say about that. And now he's a lot more of a threat, especially in this area. Yeah, you actually have to duck underneath that. You can't do it otherwise. Now you might say, why don't you just dash through that? Because you'll have infinite dashes because you're on the ground. That's a good point. It took me far more tries than I'd like to admit to get that one correct. Whoops. All right. And safety strats there, even though I probably didn't need it. Ooh, really close to doing that, but close don't cut it. You only safe the second that you get that screen transition, and at no time before. This is one where it would probably also pay to just bait out a cycle of the Oshiro dash, but at the same time, that's lame, and I'm not going to do that. Oh, okay, fine, I will do that. Easy. Hey, it's the remix version of this room that I was talking about. Now, being that little barrier of doubt blobs is only one tile thick, you can do a 45-degree dash through there, and that's kind of how I wanted to in a lot of ways. Well, what? That's how I wanted to do that. Because I like doing that, and also it constant forward momentum, you know? Ah, so close. But yeah, you cannot do that nearly as well with 3 tile wide doubt blobs. So there we go. I don't even like it. I think I just saw it and I was like, hey, okay. Get them sick Oshiro strats and still screwed up. Great stuff. I even skipped the crystal. That would have been cool. Well, yeah, I would say that this is probably the one area, if you want to get good at hopping on Oshiro's head, this is the one to do it. And right there. See, it works so perfectly there, and then you can just fall right down. And there. And yep, that's it for the B-side. And now just the lo-fi... the lo-fi version of the song here, as well as the appearing platforms, and you're done. Really, only Chapter 2 had a particularly difficult version of this. For the most part, the other chapters, I guess I haven't seen Chapter 7 yet, but hey, it's coming up. It's not nearly as ridiculous. Also, the first couple times I died there, that was that whole getting psyched out thing, because that last part was so hard for me to do that I just was like, I can't do jump now. Can't jump good. But you know what I can do good? Karma. Oh yeah, there you go. Chapter 3. Definitely one of my favorite ones. A lot of good stuff going on in this one. And also get to see this cool splash screen again.